because over in the South Coast, Bournemouth and Donny Iraola, who, by the way, Bournemouth wins against Arsenal. They go to Villa Park, a very resilient Villa Park, and they managed to get a draw in that game. And today, against Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, Stevie Nicol, they win 2-1, a historic victory for Bournemouth and Iraola. And by the way, there were moments where it should have been 3-0 until obviously Guardiola made it 2-1. But regardless, they get 3 points. Bournemouth with a great win. And that's, as I mentioned, the third match against the top 4 opponent, and they get a victory. What a victory for Bournemouth, Stevie.
Well, they came at the blocks really quick. I mean, Edson's had to make a double save after, a minute and a half. And then, of course, barely 5 minutes on the clock and Semenyo scores. And City were rattled big time. And basically every time Bournemouth were on the... they played it smart, because obviously City are going to have a lot of possession, which they did. But on the counter-attack, the pace of Semenyo and Evan Nielsen, I mean, really troubled them. And when Evan Nielsen scored to make it 2-0, then there didn't seem any way back. And there wouldn't have been had Smith, after Tavernier had hit the post, Smith had an open goal. It was a tough angle. It was coming at him at pace. But had he buried that, that would have been 3-0. Game would have been done. But of course, City don't give up the ghost, and they end up getting a goal back. It's 2-1, and then they put the pressure on for the last 10 minutes of the game. I mean, it took City 80 minutes to get an actual strike on goal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how much they were struggling in the final third. Yes, they had plenty of possession, but they couldn't create an awful lot in the final third till they got that goal, a great header from Guardiola. And then, of course, as you expect, they put the pressure on, but couldn't quite get the breakthrough. I mean, Bournemouth overall deserved the win, but City didn't give up. But in the end, they've lost, and I do believe Liverpool are sitting top of the league.
You do believe indeed, my friend, because that's Man City's 32-game Premier League unbeaten run coming to an end, by the way. And they've lost back-to-back matches in all competitions for the first time in over a year, back in September 2023. But, okay, so after the loss to Tottenham in the Carabao Cup, Pep Guardiola mentioned about, the injury list, and rightly so, right? That there's a lot going on here. It's the worst, he said, since he's joined the club. 13 players available leading up to the squad. But do you blame the loss on that, would you say, Stevie, or was there something else? Was it just the fact that it wasn't their day and Bournemouth took full advantage?
Look, I think clearly when you've only got 13 fit players, then there is a little bit of an excuse, if you want to call it that. But is anybody really feeling sorry for Manchester City? A team that's had the biggest and best squad for how many years? And all of a sudden we're going to feel sorry for them. I'm sorry, but I'm not feeling sorry for Manchester City. At the end of the day, everybody's got their problems. Everybody has their injuries. Everybody has their suspensions. And you know what? To win the title, you got to battle through. And they've battled through the last 4 years over problems they've had. So, yeah, I don't think there's too many people feeling too much sympathy for Manchester City.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a team that started, today with Erling Haaland up top, Ederson was in goal, Akanji and Ake, Gvardiol, Kyle Walker, Phil Foden. I think they were fine. I think this really should highlight the fact that this is Bournemouth's first ever win against Manchester City in all competitions. A historic achievement and really something to be called upon. And by the way, just as you were talking, Stevie, regarding how Liverpool top the table, a reminder that that's indeed the case with 25 points. Man City, because of that loss, they're in second, but only 23 points. Stevie Nicol, Nottingham Forest in third place after beating West Ham. Chris Wood playing like prime Gerd Muller right now.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on? I mean, I know it's early. I know it's November, but it's not that early. And also, it is a ridiculous achievement, taking in mind that Nottingham Forest, through the last season and a half, have had to deal with so much. Nuno Espirito Santos has done a remarkable job. Third place in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think, the fact that the Forest is sitting in third place is incredible. And I think today, more than anything, and I don't want to take any away from Forest, because I don't think any of us think that Forest are going to finish in the top four come the end of the season. But I think what Forest have done and what we've seen today, in terms of the loss for Arsenal, the loss for City, and then Liverpool winning. But I mean, boy, did they have to come from way far back. I think we just need to sit down and realise that, you know what, this season, this Premier League, every week there's going to be so-called upsets, surprises, strange results, strange performances, because we can't sit here after 10 games and really turn around and say, well, this team's going to win it, that team's going to win it, this three are going to pull away from the pack. I mean, in terms of relegation, we don't know. There's a lot of things going on down the bottom as well. I mean, there's just so much going on in this Premier League that to try and predict every week is becoming nigh on impossible. There are results, wacky performances and wacky results since the Premier League started this season. So I think it's a good thing that we can look forward to not knowing what's going to happen every weekend. I'm not so sure if you're a City or an Arsenal or a Liverpool fan, that's what you want. But for the neutral, I mean, you can't take your eyes off it.
Absolutely not. Between first and sixth, which is Chelsea, by the way, there's only 8 points of a difference. And to your point, it's such a competitive race, not just for the title race, of course, but the European spots, including Champions League. On Sunday, Aston Villa and Tottenham face against each other. If Villa win, of course, they can reclaim that third spot over Nottingham Forest, and then Manchester United against Chelsea. There's just so much to play for. So let me end with this, Stevie Nicol. Yeah. Who's in the title race right now, to your point? Even with Man City's loss and Arsenal's loss, would you say it's still a three-horse race? Do you think actually is more of an issue for Arsenal to lose against Newcastle as opposed to City losing to Bournemouth? What say you? What do you think? I know you just said how difficult it is to predict, and obviously your opinion will change next weekend, but opinions are changed based on facts right now, right? So what do you say? What's your gut telling you right now?
Yeah, I think the gut feeling is that Arsenal is still in it. I think it is between three sides. But I do 100% get the feeling that Arsenal are in a situation where they don't have any more time to turn this around. They have to turn that around the next time they step on the field in Premier League. Because you can't give City and Liverpool too much room and too many points. Because, of course, the way it's going, everybody's going to be dropping points. So, yeah, I get the gut feeling that Arsenal are in a tougher position. City have lost a game. The fact that City have been so good is why City have lost 2 games for the first time in a year. But I'm not overly worried about City yet. I'm not overly worried about Liverpool, but if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm beginning to have some doubts whether they can sustain a challenge for the whole season, because they really are in a tough spot. And as I said, they can't afford to not get out of it straight away the next time they step on the field in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, the issue today, I think, was Bournemouth's victory was deserved, right? Like you saw it. And so was Newcastle's. But I think Newcastle didn't need to play the way that Bournemouth needed to play today to get a win. And I think that's the worrying part for Arsenal. So we'll have to wait and see.
Can I just mention one thing that
go ahead.
That would be, I think the one thing for Arsenal that would be more worrying is the fact that they don't look as though they're creating an awful lot. They didn't create an awful lot today, whereas, City and Liverpool have been creating chances, regardless of whether the performances have been there. Whereas Arsenal, they don't look as though they're going to create too much. And that would be, if I was to put the finger at one problem that was more than anything else, including injuries and all that other stuff, would be the fact that they haven't been creating enough.
Well, I'm really glad you said that, because what's the one player that's missing right now in that midfield?
Mr. Odegaard.
Exactly right. And that will be a big issue for Arsenal going forward. But regardless, a tremendously exciting Saturday in the Premier League. We'll wait and see what happens on Sunday. Much more to come. Stevie Nicol, Luis Miguel Echegaray. Make sure to stay with us. ESPN FC, ESPN FC Live, and of course, ESPN FC on ESPN Plus, where you can watch Stevie and the boys and the girls every single day. We will see you next time. Till then, bye-bye.